Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about Hollywood's newest and, let's be honest, most controversial star, artificial intelligence. We're going to move beyond the sci-fi plots and look at how AI is actually stepping into the real-life production pipeline, and maybe even into the director's chair right next to you. Okay, let's get into it.
So, that line you just saw? That's not from some script. It's a direct warning from filmmaker Jim Jenkins, and he's talking about right now. You know, in Hollywood, the whole conversation about AI is this wild mix of excitement and, frankly, a lot of anxiety. But the one thing everyone agrees on, it's here, and it's already changing, well, pretty much everything.
So what does this AI shakeup actually look like on the ground? We're going to explore how the industry is grappling with this whole new force, all the way from the picket lines of union strikes to the quiet experiments happening on film sets every single day.
And this really shows you the split, right? On one side, you have all the public hype, which is either AI is going to save cinema or AI is the end of art, total doomsday stuff. But then you look at the reality for people actually making the movies. Everybody's using it. Everybody's playing with it. They aren't waiting around. They're figuring it all out, one project at a time.
And look, this is not some far-off future problem. The 2023 Hollywood strikes made that crystal clear. Suddenly, AI wasn't just this abstract idea. It was a major sticking point in real contract negotiations. We're talking about very real concerns, like AI writing scripts or creating digital copies of actors. It went from a what if to a what now, almost overnight. And that was a huge turning point for the entire industry.
Okay, let's get practical. How is AI actually being used right now? Forget the image of some robot in a director's chair yelling, "Action." It's not that at all. It's really more like a super-powered digital toolkit, a new creative assistant for human artists. Let's break down what that toolkit looks like.
You know, the Motion Picture Association has a really good way of putting it. Think of AI less like an autonomous creator and more like Photoshop, right? Photoshop doesn't paint the picture for you, but it's an incredibly powerful tool that helps an artist bring their vision to life. Same idea here. The AI doesn't have the vision, the filmmaker does. It's an assistant, not a replacement.
And this table really breaks down that partnership. So imagine you're the writer or director. You provide the creative spark, the genre, some key ideas, a theme. Then the AI just goes to work. It's like the world's fastest brainstorming partner, spitting out concept images, different plot ideas, even some basic dialogue. The human is the architect with the blueprint. The AI is the super fast drafter getting ideas on the page.
This is a great look at what a workflow might look like in the very near future. The key here is that it's a multi-model approach. A director isn't just hitting a button on the AI. No way. They're using a specific image model to nail down a character's look. Then they're switching to a different video engine for an action scene, and maybe another one for a quiet dialogue moment. It's exactly like a director choosing different camera lenses to get the perfect shot. It's all about picking the right tool for the job.
So the machine is fast, it's powerful. But that brings us to the really big question, doesn't it? What about the quality? What about the soul? Is there a ghost in the machine, or is the machine just missing a ghost entirely?
And this right here is the question that keeps a lot of creatives up at night. Just because something is faster and cheaper, does that automatically mean it's better? Can an algorithm, no matter how smart it gets, actually understand what it feels like to be human and create real, meaningful art? That's the heart of the debate.
So to get a handle on AI's limits, we've got to look back at a pretty wild early experiment. The film was called Sunspring, and it got famous because the entire script was written by an AI named Benjamin.
So what happened with Sunspring? Well, it was memorable, but definitely not in a good way. The script was just a mess. The language was confusing, the plot was absurd. I mean, at one point a character literally spits an eyeball out and nobody else reacts. It was hilarious, but also a perfect example of what goes wrong when a machine tries to tell a human story. It just doesn't get it.
And that really gets to the core of it, right? Human storytelling comes from emotion, from real ideas, from understanding culture. AI generation, on the other hand, isn't creating from experience. It's just an incredibly sophisticated pattern matcher combining data it's already seen. And that leads to predictable outcomes and, yes, sometimes those big logical gaps. It's a totally different process.
And this quote from VFX supervisor Jim Gettledyk just hits the nail on the head. He talks about this disconnect and how AI companies seem to understand what creatives actually do. Filmmaking isn't just one person generating content. It's a team sport. It's a collaborative thing. And that's something the tech world sometimes seems to forget.
So this all brings us to a really interesting turning point.
The conversation is starting to shift. It's moving away from this idea of human versus machine and towards something new, human with machine.
And that brings us to this concept of the AI co-director. It's a total reframing of the relationship. The idea is that the AI handles the complex, grunt work tasks really efficiently. But the human filmmaker, they're still in charge of the big picture, the creative vision, the why behind it all.
And the thinking is, we should learn to coexist with this stuff. If you can let the AI handle some of the more routine tasks, it actually frees up the human screenwriter or director to focus on the things that really matter. You know, the nuances of the story, the emotional depth, the stuff a machine just can't do.
And this is not just some theory for the future. Check this out. A recent study found that 78% of screenwriters, 78% are already using AI in their workflows. The partnership isn't coming, it's already here.
Okay, so this new partnership is not just changing workflows, it's actually reshaping careers. It's creating a demand for a whole new kind of creative mastermind.
So instead of just replacing jobs, we're seeing these new hybrid roles pop up that didn't even exist a few years ago. Things like an AI prompt artist, someone whose entire job is to talk to the AI, or a virtual production designer, an AI workflow consultant. These are people who have to be fluent in both technology and storytelling. They're the translators.
So what does this mean for the filmmaker of the future? Well, your core creative instincts are more vital than ever, but you've also got to be adaptable. You need to know how to direct AI as a creative partner. You're not just a director of actors and crew anymore, you're a director of algorithms too.
And maybe the most exciting way to look at all this comes from producer Laurie McCreary. She says the most exciting part is the potential to expand our own human imagination. The idea that AI won't just make things easier, but that it could actually unlock stories and visuals we haven't even dreamed of yet.
So, in the end, the tools are definitely changing. AI can be an incredible co-director, but that director's chair, it's still yours. The vision, the emotion, the story, that all comes from you. The only question is, with these powerful new tools at your side, what story are you going to tell?